I want to bring in Toby Chowdhury and also Christine Chen, both from Asian and Pacific Islander American Vote, a nonpartisan voter mobilization group, and Karthick Ramakrishnan, Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of California, Riverside, and Principal Investor for the National Asian American Survey. Thank you all for being here. Karthick, let's start with you. First of all, something Richard Louie mentioned in his report just a moment ago. The Asian American vote is not one big voting bloc. We're talking about descendants of more than 50 countries, different cultures, different issues. How should we think about the Asian American vote given that diversity?
Now, you do have all that national origin diversity, but at the same time, we do find some general patterns and trends. So generally speaking, you have about half of this population that does not identify with either party. About a third of them are undecided in terms of voting for Obama or Romney. But that said, they favor President Obama over Mitt Romney by about a 2-to-1 ratio, generally speaking.
Christine, you've been traveling the country speaking on the issue of the Asian American vote. What would you say about the energy level?
There's actually great energy and excitement about the elections. We've actually seen an influx of more Asian American Pacific Islander nonprofits doing outreach work to get more of our community registered. But at the same time, as Karthick had mentioned, over 31% of our community are undecided. A lot of them are first-time voters, so the parties and the presidential campaigns really need to do a lot more work in reaching out to our community.
Toby, in 2008, Barack Obama won 62% of the Asian American vote compared to 35% for John McCain, according to the exit polls. Is there any chance of that kind of a landslide for President Obama this time around, or is there too much of a juxtaposition between the immigration issue and the economy?
No, I think it's very possible. I mean, there's certainly an old way and a new way of engaging voters, and the president's campaign has certainly started very early engaging Asian American and Pacific Islander voters, and he's also, created a whole new sort of stage for Asian Americans in his administration. He's appointed more to the cabinet level, has record numbers in his administration, record number appointed to federal benches, and frankly, right now you see the Romney campaign. They are trying to make inroads into this constituency, primarily by focusing on small business issues. And I think there's a real choice in front of Asian American voters right now. What we are seeing in all of our polling is that Asian Americans are most likely going to vote at levels that are even greater than at 2008, in part because there are more voters within the community. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Well, Karthick, your survey found that nationally the president leads Romney among likely Asian American voters 43 to 24%, yet 33% are undecided. That is a huge number, 33%. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise us because we found a similar proportion in 2008. But it does surprise people who are used to seeing something like 7% or 8% from most polls of the general population in the United States. So the quintessential swing vote is the Asian American vote. And as Toby said, this is a vote that is just growing over time. In 2008, you had 600,000 voters, and we anticipate even more as you get the second generation that are entering into voting age and more enthusiasm among Asian American voters.
Christine, let's look at some swing states. In North Carolina, Asian Americans make up 2.3% of the population. That's larger than the margin of difference between Obama and McCain in 2008. In Florida, Asian Americans are 2.4% of the population, Nevada around 8%, Virginia around 6%. How big of an impact do you expect Asian Americans to have in these critical swing states?
Well, especially in Nevada and Virginia, we've actually seen a lot more activity, both from nonpartisan organizations, but also at the same time, the presidential campaigns. For instance, in Virginia, I've heard that Chinese Americans are being reached out by robocalls by the Romney campaign with utilizing Secretary Chow. Both in Nevada and Virginia, the Obama campaign is utilizing Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Indian field organizers to actually take volunteers to go door to door and do phone banking operations. We're not seeing that same activity in terms of outreach in North Carolina or Florida, but our nonprofit communities are doing what they are to actually register more voters and to ensure that they also understand the changing laws of the voter ID laws in those states as well.
And Toby, what's the Romney campaign strategy to reach Asian American voters, and how does it compare to the Obama campaign strategy? How can the campaigns do a better job in your view?
So certainly the Romney campaign is going back to its argument that top-end tax cuts will help business owners specifically. But if you look at the engagement that's happening on President Obama's campaign, it's very fascinating. It's been focused at the neighborhood level, probably at an unusually early part of the cycle. They started doing the field operations. They're also organizing online through a digital dashboard so that these constituencies can organize themselves. And that's probably the most interesting thing about this election cycle is you're seeing a new generation of candidates from within the community starting to change the debate in the country. You're starting to see activists who are actually forcing changes that wouldn't otherwise happen. And it's that organization at the ground that's going to make the biggest difference. And frankly, candidates across the board would be intelligent to be engaging in that conversation.
Toby, a follow-up question. I mean, how do you get out the vote with such a diverse population of voters and so many different languages involved?
It actually adds to the complication, right?
Right?
That's why it's so important to have engagement that is really constituency specific. What we do know, though, is that despite the fact that there are so many different barriers, differences in language and in culture, these communities across the board are looking for what many middle-class families are looking for. They're looking to revive the American dream, an Asian American dream, if you will, and they're looking to restore the economy, and so they're looking out for which candidate can really deliver a solution to those kinds of problems that they're facing every day.